Welcome everybody to the Shut Your Mouth Lounge. It's episode 119 with me, Alex. And I also got with me one Addy,
Hey,
one Pink,
Hey there.
and I just gotta ask. So, how do you guys feel about GameStop saying, "Hey, we're a vital industry," and then they said, "No, actually, we're not." And then apparently this morning they again told their employees to go back to work, but just wear plastic bags over your hands.
just wear plastic bags over your head. Become fast.
Fun fact, plastic bags are banned in Oregon.
Oh yeah, a lot of states are starting to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm fine with that, honestly. The only problem with getting rid of plastic bags is, what will I start to put in tiny trash bins?
Indeed.
Really, shouldn't they just be like ordering them to get the full body condoms from not Lethal Weapon, Naked Gun? It's the only way, right?
Yeah.
You would think.
You gotta stop the transfer of diseases, so get a full body condom. That'd be a way to make people even more scared of the doctor, wouldn't it? Be a fucking Silent Hill hospital, wouldn't it, Addy?
Yeah.
Paging Dr.
It's-
Pyramid Head.
You go for a routine checkup. The freaking your doctor comes in, dressed in a condom. They just say it's never late for protection.
Wait, it's never too late for protection. What's that phrase imply? Does putting on a condom retroactively stop it? Oh shit, I got Hep C. Hang on, I got this. And he just rips out a condom and slaps it on. Problem solved.
All good, all good.
It's a miracle. Alright. Addy, do you have anything coming out on your own channel?
Yes, a review of Shadow of the Colossus.
Sweet! Pink, you got anything coming out on your channel?
No.
Alright.
Hopefully in the future, but not now.
Let's see. What do we have coming up on the main group channel? I'll go ahead and look it up because I believe Addy is busy beating up the fucking computer.
Yes, I'm too busy being beaten by Bayonetta as a cat.
And Pink suddenly gets PTSD flashbacks.
I mean, I almost always get PTSD flashbacks, so yeah, nothing new there.
There's just so much shit that we put Pink through.
It's half the point of the channel, really.
Yeah.
So what we've got scheduled to come up this week on Friday, Addy and I are going to set fire to China.
Yep.
Oh
For
my.
justice.
For
You know-
justice.
The title was written before the coronavirus.
Yep. Several months before, probably.
Yep.
Oh man, it's a wild thing to look back on, a month before. I miss being able to leave the house.
No kidding.
I never left the house anyway,
They're
so.
being readily available in stores.
Well, Pink's lucky. He works in a vital industry like groceries or transportation or GameStop.
Yeah.
Seriously though, who in their right mind even sort of almost kind of believes that GameStop is a vital industry? Especially nowadays with
GameStop shareholders.
yeah, those are the only ones because nowadays you can get all your games online. GameStop is probably on their last legs at this point.
They are.
I think they announced that there's like 300 stores closing off.
Permanently.
Yeah.
Permanently.
I'm not surprised. That is a dying industry, the physical video game stores.
They hired Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck they're planning there.
They wanted a new mascot.
I guess, just because, like, my body is ready, Fils-Aimé's a meme, but...
Mm-hmm.
Like, a guy who marketed new games being developed and they're going to put him in charge of running the actual distribution. It's entirely different parts of the industry.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And like, who would buy it? Like, there are a lot of people who do not trust digital copies and believe that someday Sony or Steam is going to steal them all away from you. We know several people who believe that.
True.
But during this time of the coronavirus, who the fuck would run out and buy a product physically that you can get digitally?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, I have no business being out and about outside of going to work, so I have no intention of going anywhere.
Like, especially considering how many people now have to go work at GameStop mandatorily. Like, how many of those motherfuckers are going to fucking cough on the game boxes, right? I'll fucking show the CEOs, won't it? GameStop gives 300,000 more cases of coronavirus.
Womp womp.
It's like fucking waiters spitting in the food, right? Like, it's a shitty thing to do, but as a boss, you should be aware that it's a thing that's going to happen, and you really should be prepared for it. Ah, Jesus Christ. Ah, alright.
I just don't think it's a good business move at all because, you know, everyone's in quarantine. You're paying people to work the store that isn't going to be making that much money back. So you're essentially, I mean, it's probably nice for the employee if he's not got another job. It's like, hey, I get to go to work, sit around for 8 hours doing nothing and get paid for it. But you're not going to be making that revenue back that you're paying out to the employees all across the nation. So it boggles my mind, and I don't understand it. But, you know, GameStop be GameStop.
Yep. They're going to keep restocking, and in the South, it's already getting pretty hot this time of year, shockingly enough. So,
oh, yeah.
In the South, they're going to have to pay to run the air conditioning.
Uh-huh.
So that's going to be unnecessary cost.
Gotta keep the lights on.
Are there any shops in Alaska?
Is there anything up in Alaska? I thought that was just
Oil derricks and snow hills.
Nothing's up in
Pitbull is in
Alaska.
Alaska.
That's a myth.
Sarah Palin.
Pitbull.
That's a myth.
She can see Russia from her house.
That might be true.
She has a Russian house.
Putin is shitting in her back lawn.
Yeah.
That's why she wanted to run for president, just to get Putin out of there. Alright, Pink, what you been up to this past week, man?
Oh, geez. I've been sick a lot. Thankfully not with the coronavirus. So, you know, all good there. Didn't put really any more time into Animal Crossing. It's like maybe 20 minutes more than the last time we spoke about it. So nothing new there. You know, same old thing all over again. Just new.
Can you still
shiny and new.
Can you still go get free loot from the Lost and Found guy?
I don't know if there is a Lost and Found guy anymore. Did that feature return after GameCube?
The only Animal Crossing I had was New Leaf on DS, and in that game you could go ask the gate guards for Lost and Found.
Okay, I had one on... my twin definitely had the one on DS. I didn't play it all that much, but I had the one on GameCube and Wii. I remember there was a Lost and Found on GameCube. I don't remember there being one on the Wii, though. But I could just be forgetting.
I mean, it was basically just a free way to get shit.
Yeah.
If they got rid of the dogs that guard the front gate, then it would probably go with them.
Probably.
Did you do anything else?
Did I do anything else? Not really. It was a lot of Fire Emblem, but nothing new on that front either. I would like to say, story-wise, with all the different routes they added, it feels like they could have just made one all-around better story if they had kind of combined the stories together.
Heh.
And I have to wonder if that wasn't a plan at some point during development. I'm not sure when they decided, at one point did they say, we're going to do 3 separate routes, 3 separate houses, or did it maybe start off with like, here's our main character and here's the antagonist, oh wait, we kind of like this antagonist. Let's make her a playable character. But now we need to add another route, so let's add another character into it.
I think I did see in passing that some chick named Edelgard was originally supposed to be the villain,
Yeah.
but they changed it because she was too popular or something.
I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into it, but that wouldn't surprise me because Edelgard is, I would say, what should have been the primary antagonist. And her story in the game, it's the shortest one in the game. So that's what had me thinking maybe she was tacked on later. Because her route is called Crimson Flower, and then the route that I feel like was supposed to be the main story before they potentially diverged, or diverged, rather. It would have been the, what was it called? Verdant Wind, maybe? I'll just call it Blue Lion and Black Eagle. So Blue Lion House feels like it was supposed to be the main story. Black Eagle story feels like it was added on later on in development once they decided to make Edelgard a playable character. And in that route as well, there's actually an option to choose to not side with the Black Eagle House and go a completely different route. So then this is like the first Fire Emblem game ever where you can potentially have a route where you play without a Lord character, which is friggin' weird, man.
Huh, okay.
I'm actually really... I need to go do some research now because that's been bugging me a lot. Because it feels like there must have been a lot going on behind the scenes in development that maybe could have completely altered the way this game was made.
Admittedly, it being such a recent game, there probably isn't much behind-the-scenes knowledge. That stuff usually doesn't come out until several years afterwards.
Very true.
Partly
I still need to go around, though.
It also helps
because
that
there have to be clues of some sort.
I would imagine so. But at the same time, like, some Japanese developers don't ever want to talk about what happened behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is not always the case, but there are a lot of times where, like, it's, you know, you talk about what goes on behind the scenes, you're not getting hired again, that kind of thing, you know?
Yeah. And, Japanese developers are so much different from the American ones, because Americans, they'll talk about anything, Oh, you're paying me to talk for an hour? Here's all I know. Have my information.
I found out the other day about just how much drama there was with the original Doom developers.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doom! You wouldn't think it'd get any more simplistic than that.
No. I couldn't imagine any drama coming out of that.
It's really funny story, actually. But anyways, so I got a question, though. You said the main character for one of the houses is Edelgard.
Yes.
So does the main character change depending on which house you pick?
Yes.
So Byleth is only the main character for one house.
Byleth is the, we'll call him the deuteragonist.
Oh, so no matter what, he goes to whichever house you pick?
Yes.
Or she, rather.
Byleth is your quote-unquote avatar character.
Oh, okay, yeah, I forgot this game's Japanese.
Yeah.
We can't have the main character be interesting. It's only a problem for Japanese RPGs, though. No other fucking genre really has that problem. Ugh. So, the two main characters will be Byleth and the leader of whatever house you pick. Is that right? And I assume every story ends with Byleth becoming the new leader of the house for some reason?
Not quite. I think, there's a time skip later on, so the whole three houses thing becomes irrelevant by that point.
Yeah.
But there is one story arc where it does end with Byleth basically becoming king or queen of the empire.
Okay.
Or whatever region you're in.
Yeah. Alright, anything else?
No. Civ 6, I recently tried to play a game as Korea because I heard they were a scientific powerhouse and I wanted to see how well that would go. It didn't go so well for me because the map I got was really bad because it would have been a good Inca run, I'll say that.
Yep. Korea is a very terrain-reliant civ, and I don't think that... Inca has a natural thing that makes them spawn close to the biggest range of mountains.
Mm-hmm.
I do not think Korea has anything in place to make them spawn close to hills. I think Korea's thing just focuses on putting them on the coast. Which is bad, because Korea's entire mechanic is centered around hills. For some reason. Because isn't their whole thing, like, if you put their science lab on... Okay, we've lost him. Addy, are you thrilled? Addy, are you thrilled that we're talking Civ again?
Yep. I mean, hey, I'm... While y'all do that, I'm trying out Susanoo in freaking Blaze Blue. Boy. Dude is... Like, I can hardly put it in words because it's so freaking weird. Alright, Pink's back. I don't need to fill the air. Continue.
We can talk more about Susanoo in a little bit.
Yeah.
So, Korea's entire thing, like, Korea spawns on the coast. That's the way Civ tries to put them. Even though they really should be spawning next to hills.
Right.
Which, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there a science thing, like, you throw it down, and if you throw it on a hill, you get extra science, and also every mine adjacent to it gets extra science as well?
Yes.
So you really want those.
Their scientific district has to be built on hills. It can't be built on any other type of terrain. And then if you've got adjacent mines next to it, those mines will produce science as well. So, it might be very nice on a, newer Earth setting or a primordial map. But the map I got, I'm, like you said, very close to the coast. So there's a lot of ocean tiles next to me. And to my south is just a gigantic mountain range with a continent on the other side of it. So, I can't work any mountain tiles. I've got very few resource tiles next to me. I don't have any floodplains that have the potential to flood and give me extra food. So I'm actually getting a lot of production. I'm getting no food. So I've got 2 people that are working like madmen, but they're not going to be producing any other... what's the word? Any other population, any more population anytime soon, because they can't eat.
The spawn system sometimes just decides to fuck people. I mean, we've both probably seen it now, at least one occasion of, like, the game just decides to spawn you in the fucking Arctic for some reason.
Right.
Like, everybody else spawns in a verdant valley on the side of a river with all kinds of luxurious resources. Meanwhile, I'm in fucking Siberia. Oh, man. Anything else?
Nope, I believe that's it.
Alright, Addy. Susanoo. Now, isn't that Now, doesn't Susanoo have, like, 3 meters or something like that?
No, Susanoo has a thing where you need to do his, D attack, his special whatever. Drive, that's what they call it, drive attack. And that's how you unlock his specials.
Well, doesn't Hakumen have something along those lines as well?
No. Hakumen's is the more normals you do, the more like Magatama points or whatever you get to do specials with. So it's like a different type of meter, whereas this is just a more or less flat stat. Like, you can technically upgrade your specials with it if you do them more, or do the unlock thing more, but otherwise it's just unlocking them.
Alright.
And basically...
For those who aren't aware, today is Addy's birthday, and Pink's too muted to say happy birthday, so happy birthday, Addy!
Happy birthday, you schmuck!
So for Addy's birthday, I bought him a copy of Blaze Blue Central Fiction, and that's what he's playing right now.
Yeah, as we're talking. So basically, the best way I can describe Susanoo is, well, you know how I really like Hazama and Hakumen, and it's like the freaking Blaze Blue team, and, well, he likes those 2 characters, so what if we put them in as 1 character, also give him Akuma's moveset, why not?
Yep. Okay, I did not know he has Akuma's, like... Does he have Demon Flip?
Yes and no. he has the overhead, like, jumping attack from the ground, but it's a whole attack, it's not an actual Demon Flip. Okay. But I don't mind it.
It's not a mix-up, it's just his forward heavy punch.
Yeah.
Alright. So, you've so far got to only try Jubei and Susanoo, right?
Yes.
And I also tried Central Fiction a couple weeks back. And you were not on Steam at the time, so I was hoping you wouldn't notice. But I've only got to try... What's his face? The kid from the visual novels.
Oh, no.
No. The guy. Anime protagonist man.
Freaking Discount Key, whatever his name is, Jin.
Not the sword guy. No, he's a new character. They just added him. He's one of the new characters in Central Fiction.
The workout guy.
The workout guy?
That's the only way I can identify one of the new characters because he has a stretching animation. I don't know what he uses it for, but he does have one.
I don't know if he does have a stretching animation. The very protagonist-looking guy who's wearing the black and red.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, I think.
Yeah, I got to try him, and I quite liked him, partially because he's not really a BlazBlue character. There's no crazy setups or anything with him. He's just punch. Like Israel, but if Israel didn't have weird targeting bullshit, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of appreciate that. And did they make any big mechanic change? Right, didn't they make it where now you can spend your little overdrive thing instead for just one big fucking hit?
I don't know. I do know that I have figured out the freaking Guilty Gear mechanics, the real Guilty Gear mechanics, though.
Oh yeah,
It took me 2 games, but yeah.
There's roam and cancel, there's burst, what else was there?
Maybe Faultless Defense, I don't know, I haven't seen that one in action yet, if it's in.
I don't think there's faultless defense, actually.
Yeah, I feel like the CPU would have used it by now if there was.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, there is barrier.
Oh, you're right, yes, okay. There's also a universal overhead for a chunk of meter, so I guess that's the equivalent of dead angle.
Yeah.
And I believe it behaves entirely different for every character. Like for Celica, it's a launcher, something like that. The BlazBlue continues to be crazy and weird in its own ways.
Yeah.
Have you got anything particular to say about it so far? With the hour you've spent with it?
Well, a lot of it seems to be mostly the same as Chrono Phantasma. Really?
With more characters?
Yeah, with more characters. Which, I mean, it's fine. I get that freaking making sprites is freaking costly.
Heh.
I mean, just look at SNK.
Yeah.
They still haven't recovered.
They just stopped doing sprites. Back to 3D models.
Yeah, but I mean, look at the 3D models. They still haven't recovered budget-wise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hopefully they've made enough money off of Sam Show 6 or 7. It is 7 now, right?
Yeah, it is 7.
Hopefully that has been enough of a success that they can have an actual budget.
Hopefully.
And hopefully Terry being in Smash will finally give them enough recognition for people to actually go out and buy 15.
Yeah.
So, with BlazBlue Central Fiction, I gotta ask, how much time did you end up spending with Chrono Phantasma?
Not a lot more than what we recorded, actually, because like as much as I like the game overall, there still weren't any characters that I really liked because, well, like I liked playing Makoto, but then I also had to look at the character, and that's a thing.
It's the classic Addy problem. The characters I like the look of, I don't like the gameplay. The characters I like the gameplay of, I don't like the looks.
Yeah. So, like, I spent some time with it. I did do some, like, combo practice and stuff like that. I did figure out Kazama's grab. I did do Kazama's grab once, and never before or since.
His command grab super?
No, his air grab.
Ah, okay.
You know, the snatch.
Don't talk to me about snatching.
But yeah, so um, really the big difference between Chrono Phantasma and this is that in this one there actually are characters that I like the look of and the playstyle of. It turns out now that I have some experience with Susanoo, turns out Susanoo is just freaking laying on the layers of inputs. He never lets up ever.
Yeah, that's the kind of character you look like. I should put in some time with him and figure him out a little bit. Visually, he kind of reminded me of Saberwolf from KI.
I don't know.
Like him and Wolverine and Saberwolf in my brain, and Yamcha and Dragon Ball. They're all
I don't know. Like they have baggy hair and that's about it.
well, they're all very aggressive with claw-focused attacks. Super Rushdown. All four of those characters.
I'd say like I don't know because to be Susanoo looks more like a lizard, which I think he's supposed to be because freaking Magato no Orochi or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that's different about BlazBlue versus Guilty Gear is just how much of Japanese mythology is present in the game.
Yeah.
And Guilty Gear instead it's they took heavy metal and replaced it with Japanese mythology for some reason.
Why not? If it works.
Yeah, if it works, absolutely. There are BlazBlue's got characters I do really like. Admittedly, some of them are just the obvious ones. I take a look at Jubei and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, but it's tiny ninja cat. Why wouldn't I like that?
Yeah. Pink, like, we talked about how Pink would probably make Makoto, but if we sent Pink a picture of Jubei, he'd flip out too. Like, Pink, Jubei is a cat, like a cat person. This is battle scarred samurai, but it still looks adorable.
I love it already.
Hang on, I've got a picture right here.
Oh my goodness, yes.
The samurai sword in the mouth. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but I think I have a I think I have a thing for freaking people with or like characters with eye patches.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a classic way to show someone just doesn't give a shit about a career-ending injury.
Yeah.
The thing I love about Jubei is that Jubei is not only a samurai cat, Jubei also is one of like the fucking Avengers of the BlazBlue universe.
All of the characters that I play are. Dude,
Yeah.
like freaking Hazama or Terumi, I guess. Terumi was the guy who killed Amaterasu or whoever. Freaking Jubei was in there. Jubei's wife, who is Bayonetta, was in there, who I will probably pick up because why not? She looks fun.
Oh, wait, the witch is fucking what's her face? The cat girl's mom.
Yes. Kokonoe. Yes, she is Kokonoe's mom.
Okay. BlazBlue's just got the weirdest lore.
Yeah.
Every now and then I look on something and I see like, oh, the old Avengers team, they're kind of still around, but now they're all old, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I look at stuff and it's like, oh, Israel really wants to... Noel and Israel are basically brother and sister, but they also are heavily implied to be romantic, and it's like, oh...
Azrael wars Noel regularly.
No, that's Arakune's business, and you know it.
Yeah, it's true.
Arakune's a whole nother fucking bag of worms right there.
But yeah. So BlazBlue can be fun. If you get used to it, it can be fun.
Yeah. BlazBlue is... You have to turn off parts of your brain to enjoy it. Not all of it. Just parts of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta ignore the story. You have to be able to do that. Because there are a lot of characters you can't enjoy if you know the story. And
I
there's...
don't know. I know the story, and I still like Hazama for the most part.
Well, yeah, Hazuma's fine, because Hazuma's just a crazy asshole, and that's his whole character.
That's true.
There's a lot of characters that you can just do that with. Israel's fine, because he's just a fucking asshole who wants to pick fights and eat people.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Because he's a fucking serial killer. Israel has got to be like the least stereotypical serial killer character of all time.
Yeah.
Hazama looks like he'd be the serial killer, but no, it's Israel.
Yeah, Hazama's a detective.
Yeah. Israel's this huge, muscular badass with long hair, and he wears his coat as a cape. Beats you to death with his bare hands. Also, Jeffrey Dahmer. Like, okay, well, that's an unexpected twist. And then, of course, we've got Boob Witch, you know.
Yeah, Boob Witch.
You don't need any story explanation.
I mean, hey, Pink would probably play Boob Witch or Boob Teacher.
Those both sound great.
Or Boob Squirrel.
Boob Squirrel?
Yes.
That just has me confused, but still intrigued.
Boob Squirrel does boxing really good.
I like it.
Yeah. So what else did I do? Well, I did play some Flat Out 2, which is another thing that W bought me.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously the game looks a bit dated because it is like freaking 15 years old or something. I don't know when exactly it came out, but it isn't new.
No, it isn't.
But yeah, so I played a bit of that. I spent the first like 30 minutes just singing along with the music. Turns out I conflicted like all of this game's soundtrack to be in Gran Turismo 4.
I don't blame you.
And yeah, I mean, it's still a fun game. It is a bit dated controls-wise too, because, you know, driving the cars feels like driving soap, but like it has some fun mini games. The music, like to me, I enjoy like up tempo metal more than up tempo EDM for this sort of shit.
Depends on the mood you're trying to set.
Yeah. That's true. And overall, like it's a pretty good whole package, even if it's dated. But like, it is still dated. You have to keep that in mind.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
Never in my life have I been able to keep Burnout and Flat Out separate in my mind. In my mind, they're the same game. Is Flat Out the one that had the minigame for launching your driver out of the car?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one. That's the one. Okay.
Yeah, I tried Burnout and I didn't like it because I'm not too big on racing games or derby games. Flat just has that much freaking stupidity in it that I liked it. Because like Pink,
Yeah.
Flat Out 2 is a racing game where if you go too fast and drive into a wall, instead of, you know, just like staying there or having your car break down and having to restart the race, your character model flies through the windshield and you can follow it through the freaking level as it flies.
I love it.
I've got a question.
Yeah.
If the driver crosses the finish line but not the car, does it still count?
I think so. I don't remember, but I think so. I think I have won a race like that.
I love it.
MLG strats.
Yep. Who needs a car anyway?
It's about equivalent to in GTA 5 races, just getting out of the car and fucking dragging the other guys out and beating them to death, then walking away.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Anything else?
So that well, because of the freaking because of the quarantine, my family has been more receptive to playing video games.
Okay.
And so my mom's picked up Guilty Gear.
All right.
She's trying to learn it.
All right.
it's pretty funny how she beats me with Faust.
Faust is just objectively the best character, and everyone respects it.
Yeah, the weird thing is she doesn't like weirdo characters except Faust. Faust is fine.
Faust's the best weirdo character. Because, like, you can look at Fong or Dan, and most of the joke with them is, oh, look, they made a funny pose, or oh, look, they're pathetic. Faust is so fucking weird, he breaks reality.
Yeah. You're gonna be proud of her because her two mains right now are Slayer and Faust, by the way.
I see. The appreciation for the neutral is universal.
Yeah. Which is funny considering that she hates Street Fighter.
Heh. I mean, like, part of the reason, like, I'll pick up Faust or Slayer is just because I'll play Guilty Gear, but I'll be like, I don't know how to do big combos. Doing big combo is not something I've particularly learned with Guilty Gear, so I'll pick two characters I don't have to do combos with. Admittedly, it means I don't get much damage output, but still. Like,
But yeah.
just with Faust, I can keep people out if I want to mess with them, and Slayer, I can just, constantly try to match them.
Yeah.
You were going to say?
I don't freaking remember.
Alright. Did you do anything else?
And I'm trying to think, but I don't think I've done anything else.
Alright. Well,
So yeah.
If you think of anything else, you can bring it up.
Alright. Go ahead.
So, for my week, I have technically not done a whole lot. Because I've mostly been focusing on just a couple things. Dark Souls 3 has been taking me a lot of time, even though it's a very short game. Dark Souls 3 has taken me quite a bit longer than expected, and this is for multiple reasons. For one, Dark Souls 3 really has my fucking number. I'm at the very, very end game here. I am fighting within the main game, there are only 2 bosses left. Ignoring the DLC. I've finished one of the DLCs, and the other DLC I'm currently about to go through. But there is one particular boss in the main game, by the name of the Nameless King, who fucks my ass every time. At first he comes in on a dragon. I have gotten killing that dragon down to a formula. I perfect that dragon just about every time now. I don't take a single hit. And then the Nameless King himself gets off the dragon and fights me 1v1. I have not managed to get him down to 75% health yet. He just destroys me. And I know where I'm screwing up is the worst part, and it's just really hard to break the habit. Because the way he destroys you is just, he delays his swings a little bit. So I'm dodging shit that hasn't come out, and then he smacks me as soon as I stand back up. Ooh,
that's rough.
Yeah. He's beatable. I can tell that he's beatable. But it's just I have to learn,
Yeah, he's getting you with the mix-ups.
Yes. Pretty much. Like, a lot of the harder fights in Dark Souls, a lot of the harder 1v1 fights in Dark Souls give me flashbacks to For Honor. It's
That's
more
funny.
It's more simplistic, certainly, but there's definitely a lot of the For Honor focus on spacing and dodging versus parrying versus blocking, or mix-ups being focused on delaying your hits or just canceling into something else, right? Well, there's no canceling in Souls, but whatever. So it's definitely wild.
I mean, I don't know, because with some weapons I was able to cancel shit within other Souls games, or Souls-like games rather.
Neo's a lot more advanced with his combat than Souls. Neo lets you do some crazy bullshit that Souls would never imagine. And Bloodborne did definitely have more freedom with its combat as well. I think there was a lot of spots where you could kind of cancel recovery just by dashing forward. But with Souls, there's very much not any canceling, which is part of why Souls is considered difficult by some, is just simply the fact that you can't make moves safe. But anyways, so yeah, I'm continuing to try and make progress on Dark Souls 3, but oh boy, it's hard. I'm enjoying the game though. And the only other two things I did this week, and this is one I'm going to go ahead and get out now while Pink's not muted because he seems to be quite busy right now.
Oh no, it's just sneezing.
Oh, okay. The WWE Network has given out a free month. I don't know. They've given out a free something during the quarantine. So
Indeed.
we went ahead and got that set up, and we watched WrestleMania 1.
Oof.
You know, most of it was pretty bad. I mean, like, it was that definite transition from the Territories era to, you know, the Golden Age. So there's a lot of Territories era stinkers there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh boy, we're starting off with fucking Tito Santana versus... Who the fuck was it? I don't want to say Bob Orton. It wasn't Bob Orton, but it was some...
No. Let me Google that card.
Yeah, it's a real...
WrestleMania 1.
It's a real fucking banger of a card, let me tell you. I'll Google the card as well. Because most of the matches were terribly unmemorable. Because back in the day, people didn't have gimmicks. They just came out and it's like, oh, I'm tough guy.
Right.
Tito Santana versus the Executioner. Oh, yeah. Fucking Greg the Gas Tank Valentine in a mask. Whose bright idea was it to have Greg Valentine work 2 fucking matches on the card? A guy who's notorious for the fact that he can't fucking work for longer than 2 minutes.
That's incredible.
Oh man, remember back in the day when they ran out of wrestlers? So they just got another wrestler in the back to put on a fucking mask?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I have seen a Jeff Hardy match.
Yeah. And so that match, like, Tito Santana is bleh, you know? I know at one point he was an icon.
Right.
Oh, hey, the Executioner actually wasn't Greg Valentine. It was Buddy Rose. How about that?
Buddy Rose. Oh, lordy.
Yeah. Well, like, ugh. Then we got King Kong Bundy versus S.D. Jones.
Oh, yeah, S.D. Jones.
Uh-huh. And I'll admit, King Kong Bundy's one of my boys. I'm happy to see him. But it's hilarious to watch WrestleMania 1 when they didn't know what they were doing yet. Second match on the fucking card's a squash.
I just noticed I've got the results up on Wikipedia. It's like King Kong Bundy with Jimmy Hart defeated Special Delivery Jones in a singles match with a time of, drumroll please, 23 seconds.
Yep. Let me summarize the match for you. Bundy puts SD in the corner. Corner splash. Stinger splash. SD falls on the mat. Bundy splashes on top of him. Pin. It's over.
Oh boy.
If that were on the regular weekly shows, it'd be great and it'd make King Kong Bundy look fantastic.
Thing is, back then it probably was on the weekly shows.
Unfortunately, it's at WrestleMania. So... Jimmy Hart, by the way, was a fucking baby at that time. That was weird to see. Because in my mind's eye, I see like 90s WCW Jimmy Hart, right?
Right.
Which, to his credit, he's actually pretty much managed to look the same for 30, 40 years now.
Yeah.
But
it's incredible.
I'm not used to him looking young, and the fact that he was actually kind of a good-looking guy in the 80s. Oh, man. The next... I don't want to hit every match on the card, I just want to hit the highlights.
Right.
Boy, I forgot Brutus fucking Beefcake was even around before he was the barber. And there's nothing to really show you a card's age, like when they think David Sammartino is going to be the next big thing. That was by far the worst match on the card, by the way.
I'm not surprised.
They gave those fuckers 11 minutes.
44 seconds.
Neither of them could work.
That's 11 minutes and 44 seconds too long.
Yeah. The only person involved in that could work was Bruno at ringside. Also, there's a spot where Brutus and David go to the ringside and Brutus fucking body slams him. They didn't have a pad yet out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I wonder how many years that took off David's career. And it ends in double disqualification, too, because we can't have a fucking actual finish to this match to build up the guy who Vince thought was going to be great someday. Junkyard Dog versus Greg Valentine, which, Greg Valentine, the great entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever seen the promos and the build-up to that feud?
I have not.
They built Greg Valentine up to be a racist heel to go up against Junkyard Dog.
Right.
But Greg either must be either not a racist at all and didn't want to come off as one, or the opposite, an actual racist and didn't want people to think he was really one. Either way, he could not fucking cut the promos properly. And every time he had to insult him, he would say, "Junkyard Dog, you black man." And it's genius heel work right there. And of course, the match ends in disqualification. No, count out. Fucking count out.
Count out, yep.
Because they weren't actually willing to put the IC title on a black dude.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted to make it seem like they were.
Yep, pretty much. You know what was the most shocking thing?
What?
Best match on the card? Sheik and Volkov versus Wyndham and Rotunda. I would not have expected, I don't know about you, but I don't know about you guys, but my mental image of Sheik is old Sheik, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Fucking bullshit Sheik, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I imagine him as an old pud with a gut that's twice the size of every other body part of him, right?
Right.
Sheik could fucking go back in the day. He was running all over the place, throwing drop kicks. I was shocked. Volkov actually moved fairly well for a big guy as well, but shit, nobody could keep up with Sheik in that match. I gotta say, they worked an actually pretty good match. With proper heel stuff with Sheik and Volkov and all that. The only problem with the match was, it was, again, transition from the territorial times. So the heels were allowed to work a gimmick. Sheik and Volkov come out and Volkov sings the Soviet anthem and Sheik says, Iran number one, America two. That classic gimmick, right?
Right.
And then here's Wyndham and Rotunda. Jesus Christ, he's going fucking nuts over there. Addy is going ham.
What am I doing?
I don't know. Jostling your joystick?
Possibly.
You're inputting 1,000 pretzels.
I'm manually inputting all 1,000 hits of the Shagokusatsu.
Okay, that makes sense. So
I have no recollection of Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo ever teaming.
They were the U.S. Express in the territorial days. And both of those guys would go on to be entertaining workers, because Rotunda
yeah, absolutely.
Rotunda became IRS, which was a delightfully stupid mid-card heel gimmick.
Yes.
And Wyndham went on to join... Was Wyndham part of the founding Four Horsemen?
Wyndham, Tully, and...
No. It was Arn, Ole, Tully, and...
yeah. Wyndham had to come a lot later then.
Yeah, but Ole was, shit. So when we think of the iconic version of
we exclude Ole.
We replaced Ole with either him or was Lex a Four Horseman at some point?
Probably, but I'm not sure.
I feel like I remember seeing him as a part of the Four Horsemen.
I think he was.
It's possible, but it might be memory playing games with me, because there are a lot of people that I remember being in the Four Horsemen, because a lot of guys were in the Four Horsemen that shouldn't have been.
Yeah, there was quite a while where they just had a shifting fourth spot. It went from Ole to Wyndham to fucking... What's his name? The dipshit commentator everyone loves to make fun of?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah,
I know it. It's just slipping my mind right now.
I can't remember either. His name sounded real weird too. It sounded made up. Hang on, I'm going to fucking look up Barry Windham. All right, so, and then from him I will find. Oh, hey, Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda are brothers-in-law.
Oh,
Yeah, how about that? Okay, yeah, so the original Four Horsemen lineup from 85 to 87 was, them. Rick, Ole, Arn, and Tully. And apparently they then brought in Lex and Barry Windham from 87 to 89. Sting and Sid Vicious from 89 to 91.
Oh, yeah.
why not?
Yeah.
I have no recollection of such a thing happening.
Oh,
Sting, the fourth horseman. Yeah, I remember that greatly.
Yeah, from the feud where Sting was an idiot and kept getting betrayed by Flair again and again. Well, Flair, you've betrayed me 3 times, but hey, a 4th time, I'm sure it'll work.
Mongo McMichael.
Oh, fuck, Brian Pillman was a 4 horseman. I remember that.
For all of like 2 weeks.
I know that Benoit was a 4 horseman.
Yes. Oh god, now it was the fucking Dungeon of Doom.
The only reason I even know that Benoit was a part of the 4 horsemen was because in my review of Darksiders 2, I replaced his picture with Death from Darksiders.
Oh man, and they inducted the 4 horsemen. Does that technically mean?
Yes, technically, I think it means.
Oh no!
Technically, it means this entire list of people are in the Hall of Fame.
Fucking Mongo McMichael and Paul Roma.
I'm pretty sure the Hall of Fame class excludes all the names here listed except for Rick, Tully, Arn, and Windham.
Yeah, they replaced Ole with Windham because who the fuck is going to implement Ole into the Hall of Fame?
Who's going to include Ole in anything?
Like, in my mind, the 4 horsemen is Rick, Arn, and some other losers.
Yep.
Which, I mean, just about any wrestler you could throw in a team with Rick and Arn, and, like, they're gonna look like shit.
Right. I don't know. I feel like Pillman and Benoit might have been in the Horsemen at the exact same time for a very, very, very brief time.
No, there's no way. Benoit came after the Dungeon of Doom. Because Pillman left WCW for ECW during the Dungeon of Doom angle. Because you guys have heard about the worked shoot he did with Kevin Sullivan, right?
Yeah.
Addy, have you ever heard of this?
I'm not sure.
So Kevin Sullivan and Brian Pillman in '95 got together and came up with the idea of a worked shoot. Because at the time, wrestling, journalists were becoming more of an important thing in wrestling, right? Dave Meltzer and like. So they had an idea to fuck with them. Pillman and Sullivan had a match. Pillman goes nuts and shoots on Sullivan, or it looks like he shoots on Sullivan.
Yeah, takes out the gun and shoots Sullivan.
Yes. And he picks up a mic and says, "I quit, Booker man," and then leaves. Which is supposed to look like a shoot because Kevin Sullivan was the booker, right?
Yeah.
Right.
In secret, Pillman and Sullivan had agreed that they'd fake the shoot. Pillman would go over to ECW, and he would spy on ECW for WCW, and he'd let the guys at WCW know what's going on over there. Here's the thing. Pillman outthought everybody else, because part of their whole idea was, all right, to make it legitimate, to make ECW buy it, you're going to release me from my WCW contract. Yeah, Pillman didn't spy on ECW at all. He just went and genuinely worked for them, then quit and worked for WWE. That's some...
Pillman worked everybody.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that Eric Bischoff at one point has said there was a time where Pillman was being paid by WCW, ECW, and WWE all at the exact same time.
One of the only men in history to pull off a shoot.
Yeah. Only Pillman could have done it.
Fucking madman.
Yep.
Also, here's a picture for anyone curious.
Ah, yes. Oh, wow. Okay, guess I eat shit there.
Yeah, it actually happened for 2 weeks.
Yep, my favorite 4 horsemen: death, war, death, and famine.
Oh man, that's... oh boy, that is like the internet fanboys masturbation material there.
Right.
They need to just get a marker and mark out Rick and Arn's faces, and then they can just start jerking off.
No. Just super glue over their faces. Rick becomes Kenny Omega, and freaking Arn
Teddy
becomes
Hart?
Cody Rhodes.
Arn becomes Teddy Hart?
Yeah,
Uh,
why not?
fuck that guy. Oh, get a fucking soundboard of Iron Sheik going, fucking bullshit. So anyway, WrestleMania 1, Sheik and Volkov versus Wyndham and Rotunda. There was a problem with that match. You're supposed to cheer for the faces. Wyndham and Rotunda could not have bored me anymore. They're good. They're good workers, by all means. They had no gimmick. Their gimmick was all, they're workers. They're tough guys. They're American. Whatever, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whereas Sheik and Volkov, they came out and they did the whole routine.
Yep.
They had a gimmick. And they worked that shit. So, like, I very clearly, everyone in their right mind is pulling for Sheik and Volkov. The last two matches I want to talk about. Wendy Richter versus Leilani Kai. A legendary match, right?
Right.
Leilani Kai cannot work for shit. Like, Richter wasn't terrible, which is saying something for pre-2010 women's wrestling, right?
Right.
But the thing that fucking cracks me up here is that Cyndi Lauper and Fabulous Moolah are at ringside, right?
Right.
It could not have been more obvious that the feud was actually Lauper versus Moolah, and they just put those two ladies in the ladies in the ring to actually work.
Right. They were the proxy workers.
Mm-hmm. Proxy wrestling. Ah. Cyndi Lauper, bless her, she put in her work. She put in more work than any of those other three. Moolah kind of continuously astounds me with, like, how she was able to keep such a chokehold on women's wrestling for so long, you know?
Right.
And, like, despite not really being entertaining or a particularly good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper. Oh boy. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. T can't fucking work at all.
Nope.
Never in my life did I expect to see a match where Hogan had to carry things. Roddy can
From
work.
these patterns.
What? What the fuck was that? Did
I said you mean aside from these pythons? I'm trying to figure out a freaking setup because you keep echoing from my end. So I'm trying to set it up so it's not.
Okay. Well, the echo only was because I whistled really loudly, which I'm sure blew out the mic. So, Orndorff and Piper are both, alright.
Yeah.
Piper's a classic brawler. He can make it entertaining, which is rare because most wrestlers, if they decide to do brawl, it's just really shit. Most of the time it's just, Dudley boys. Let's move from one side of the arena to the other, shall we?
Yep.
Piper makes it look fun,
Yeah.
And Orndorff was alright, but it was clearly like, hey, it's Orndorff. He's big and muscular.
Yeah.
So Hogan...
I'll admit I enjoyed Orndorff as a character, but ring-wise, there were probably a lot better options to go for, even at that time.
Yeah. And my God, there were too many celebrities in that match.
You had all the celebrities in that match.
So, Mr. T was in the match. Muhammad Ali was special referee. Fucking Liberace was guest timekeeper. And they had some asshole from baseball on the commentary desk. Vince, I get it. WrestleMania. Fucking spread this shit throughout the card. Like, have it just be Mr. T. Put Liberace on some other match.
Right.
Fucking stupid. Oh, and they didn't really use Muhammad Ali either, which was bizarre.
Right. You would think you would have been at the very focal point of it all.
Yeah. Oh,
Like there's kind of never been an athlete before or after Muhammad Ali that kind of attained the stardom that he did.
and fits so wonderfully within wrestling.
Yeah.
Because Muhammad Ali, massive wrestling fanboy. Very vocal about it.
Uh-huh.
He's the only one, I think the only celebrity I've ever seen in wrestling who was willing to actually take a bump and make another wrestler look good. And I don't even remember what match it was, but there was some match where someone, like, it was, I don't even remember what company it was for, or what wrestler it was in the ring with him. But he was the special guest referee for another match. And the guy punched Ali, and Ali actually sold it and bumped. Muhammad fucking Ali.
Right.
Like, you bring any real athlete into wrestling nowadays, they ain't doing that shit. We've seen that plenty enough times, right?
Right.
Old Dick Face in WWE, the guy who wrestled Big Show.
Oh, yeah.
Wrestling is generous,
Floyd
I know.
Mayweather.
Floyd Mayweather, yeah. He fucking jobbed out Show. And then remember when WWE, not the WWE, remember when TNA brought in Pac-Man Jones?
Tag team champion with, Oh, was he tag team champions with Truth?
Yes, he was. I'm watching some TNA episodes vicariously through old school wrestling reviews, right?
Right.
I probably, before in my life, have only collectively watched 20 minutes of TNA footage. Boy, old TNA was fucking wacky. Oh, man, not to get lost. So, let's move on to the considerably better WrestleMania 3, which is still not amazing.
Right.
So, have you ever watched WrestleMania 3?
Yes, I've seen it at least once.
Alright. So, it starts off the right way with fucking pre-model Rick Martel.
Oh, those were the bad days.
Yeah. Bob Orton, who's not even a fraction of as talented as his son. And Don fucking Morocco. The heel team is managed by Mr. Fuji for some reason.
What heels did he not manage at that point, though?
Yeah. They threw around heel managers way too much back in the day.
Yeah. Honestly, though, those were the crazy days where the managers were just everywhere. You know, how many people did we were just talking about him, Jimmy Hart manage? It's like all the baby faces under management of Jimmy Hart, all the heels under management of Mr. Fuji.
Hart was a heel back then too.
That is true. That is true. I forgot about that. We're still back in early 80s.
And hang on, even there's also Johnny Valiant.
Oh, remember that guy? That's a manager that nobody talks about.
Yeah, who gives a shit? They also had introduced Slick by then.
Yes.
Fucking Slick, really. Yeah, another one that nobody really talks about. Oh, man. So, yeah, you know, like, I know that there's, like, some disrespect to the first match as being the curtain jerker match.
Right.
You need to put on good stuff for the first match to get everybody started.
Right.
And when you start out with losers like fucking Don Morocco or the Executioner, like, you know? It's not starting
Maybe in their minds they were thinking, hey, if the first match is bad, there's nowhere to go but up.
I mean, they can continue to believe that if they want to. The next... It cracks me up, like, this was the start of, like, having actual gimmicks and dudes. They still didn't know what was going on yet, and there's still lots of guys who show up, like, hey, next match, Billy Jack Haynes versus Hercules. Like, well, Hercules had a nice physique, and he could work somewhat well. That Billy Jack Haynes loser needed to be fired immediately. Fuck. And just in case you forgot this was old wrestling, the next fucking match, fucking midget wrestling. What?
Ah, yeah, those.
Hillbilly Jim versus King Kong Bundy, and also they had Haiti Kid, Little Tokyo. Fucking what?
Why not?
It's like I don't know what I can say about that, you know? I'll say Hillbilly Jim could work fairly well. I will say that all the dwarf wrestlers were actually fairly okay, though there was one, I forget which one. There was one of the dwarf wrestlers was really vying for that camera and kept fucking going into other people's spots, which cracked me up. You guys know that wrestler who refuses to ever not be part of a spot, so he tries to throw himself in when it clearly wasn't planned? Yeah, a lot of that going on there. Harley Race was way past his fucking time in the next match.
Even in the early 80s.
Like, Harley Race was great at one point. At one point.
At one point in 1962.
Yeah. And Junkyard Dog, who is one of the classics for working the audience, but, like, not the greatest ring technician in the world. Fucking... Now, we got some loser matches. Let's just skip this Brutus Beefcake match. Fuck that. Roddy Piper versus Adrian Adonis, which, I'll be honest, third best match on the card. Against all fucking odds. It wasn't a... Well, excuse me, no, it was a pretty bad match, but it was a fucking gimmick bullshit story match, right?
Right.
And, like, Roddy doesn't work real matches, he works brawls.
Right.
And it worked out, because Adrian Adonis apparently also only works brawls. I have to say, this was definitely back in the day when there are lower standards about physical shape. And Adrian Adonis' physical shape is an egg.
Which is ironic for a guy with the last name of Adonis.
Oh, I think that was his heel gimmick, was acting like he's hot when he's clearly not.
I love it.
But, like, this is, like, old wrestling that they allow this. Because Adrian Adonis, I don't know if you guys have ever seen a picture of him. The guy's physical shape is disgusting. Like, okay, like, maybe if they got him to wrestle, like, with clothes on, like the Nasty Boys. He's a fine brawler, but he shouldn't be wearing trunks. By any stretch of the fucking imagination.
They should be naked.
Yes, exactly.
Like the old Greeks.
The only way to get over.
Like, what's the fucking face? One of Undertaker's minions, the opposite one to Viscera?
Yeah.
Who went around in a fucking G-string for a century?
Naked Midian.
Naked Midian,
Ah,
yes.
yeah, Midian.
I love that people throw naked on there like it's his second form.
And then his third form was unemployed Midian.
Yes. Oh, man. I like to imagine it's like Jerry Lawler taking down the straps, right? Like he just rips off the trunks. It's time for Naked Midian. Oh, man. Oh, man. You know what match fucking confounded me? Heart Foundation and Dangerous Danny Davis versus the British Bulldogs and Tito Santana. So, you can tell this was 87, very pre-New Generation, based off the fact that evidently someone who was planning this match was like, alright, Bret Hart's really young and green, keep him out of the ring at all costs. Do not let him work.
He's gonna pull the show down with his terrible ring work. You gotta let Jim carry this one.
Yeah, and fucking Dangerous Danny Davis wasn't doing anything, because he was fucking tiny and shit. So we got Jim Neidhart trying to be the workhorse of this match. And let me tell you, that's a workhorse that don't work. Don't
Jim
horse
Neidhart
either.
was a pack mule, not a horse.
Yeah. I don't know. He's not even really a pack mule. He's just kind of one of the shitty donkeys that just shits on your lawn and kicks your ass.
He's a goat.
And I know Dynamite Kid's supposed to be like the best ever forever. He's like the 80s equivalent of Chris Benoit and Teddy Hart in terms of douchebags on the internet love him.
Right.
I don't know how right that is because he did not get to fucking do much. No one working against Jim Neidhart gets to do much, but Jesus. And this was the 80s, so of course Tito Santana's the star of the show. And Tito Santana's pretty old by this point. Wrestlers back in the 80s did not age as gracefully as wrestlers do now. There are a lot of wrestlers now who are in their 40s and can still work pretty well. Tito Santana, not so much.
I mean, isn't that because they did everything for real?
Probably, yeah.
It was a lot less safe back then, and there was a lot more, substance abuse back then.
Mm-hmm. Cocaine! That was Bret Hart's first WrestleMania, I believe. And not a good opening showing, because he just didn't get to wrestle at all. There's a fucking part where everybody charges the ring, right? Because it's a 3-man tag match, at some point everybody charges the ring.
Right.
It's the only part of the fucking show. And, Bret gets in, Davey Boy fucks him immediately. Alright, congrats, Bret, get out. Oh, Butch Reed versus Koko Beware.
Oh, our boy Koko!
On the upper end of the card for some reason.
Everybody loves Koko Beware.
Hall of Famer.
Yes. Actually, that's not even a joke. That is a fact.
That is a fact, yes. And for some fucking reason, at the end of the match, Tito Santana comes Butch Reed is the heel. He beats Koko Beware clean, right?
Right.
Because Coco's a jobber. Tito comes out. He beats up Butch. Then for some reason he starts ripping off Slick's clothes. And
Why not?
I don't fucking know. The fucking dumber part of it, there's later in this fucking show, I'll talk about it when we get to it. Then Ricky Steamboat versus Randy Savage. One of the best.
The classic.
One of the best matches of all time. Watching the match was a fucking trip because everybody else on the card was wrestling in classic territory style. Then you look at Randy and Ricky. They are wrestling 20 years ahead of their time, 30 years ahead of their time. That was a modern day match. And not every modern match should be this or try to be this. And I think that's a problem a lot of wrestlers have is that they look at their fucking mid-card Raw match and they're like, oh, this is going to be the next Ricky versus Randy.
I gotta leave it all out there in the ring tonight. That's the only way to get over nowadays.
Yeah, and the match was fantastic, but I think it's also important that it was WrestleMania. It was the blow-off to a big feud. Despite the fact that the person who was feuding with Randy was not really Ricky, it was George the Animal Steel, but,
What's that turd gonna do?
No. Bless him, he's a fun comedy act, fucking contributing nothing. The only thing he does in the match is, he does two things. Ricky at one point gets launched outside of the ring, and George picks him up. There's another part where Randy goes to grab the ring bell to use it as a weapon, and George tries to steal it from Randy. Randy just fucking kicks him in the face.
George did not steal.
No. But it was a fantastic match, and there was a lot of, I don't want to just say spots, but spots, yeah. But there's a lot of fake pinfalls.
Right.
Close finishes in a way that makes it feel like the two are actually trying to win and not just put on a show,
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that's definitely missing nowadays. I'm also a fan of a spot that's not done so much nowadays. When the heel knocks out the ref on accident, hits his finish on the face, goes for the pin, heel doesn't count, ref doesn't count because he's fucking dead.
Right.
So the heel counts it and they count it for some reason.
Yeah. Well, it's my favorite spot of the whole match is Randy hits the big elbow. Ref's fucking dead. So Randy actually counts out the pin himself and then goes to pick the ref up. I love to imagine Randy trying to tell the ref when he woke up, "Don't worry, ref, I counted the pin for you."
I got the pinfall, ref. Come on, ring the bell.
Give me the belt. Come on. The only flaw with that match is all around just about perfect. The only flaw with that match is at the fucking end, it is Ricky Steamboat's big victory. He picks up the IC title. And it's a big moment because it's like one of the greatest matches in history, and Ricky's all around like one of the most severely underrated, not underrated by the fans, but underrated by booking wrestlers in history, right? Would we all agree on that?
Yeah.
And fucking George the Animal Steel comes in to steal the thunder.
Yeah. The worst part of that match. George the Animal Steel.
Because Ricky starts posing with the title, right? And George, like, starts fucking acting like he's holding him or something. Because, I'm George the Animal Steel. Blech.
George the Animal Steel starts climbing out of the middle of the freaking canvas.
Yep.
Like Kane.
Yep. And he just takes the Intercontinental title and then goes back in the hole.
Yeah.
He's just burrowing under the ring throughout the entire show. Is that what we're saying?
Yes.
He's decided that's his cave now.
He was the original resident of Beneath the Ring.
Imagine, like...
George the Animal Steel was the original Hornswoggle.
Imagine, like, every now and then, like, you just see, like, someone leave something at ringside. You just see George scramble out from under the ring, grab it, and go back under. He's just got a horde of random shit under there. Oh, man. Next match on the card, Honky Tonk versus Jake Roberts. Alice Cooper's there for some reason. I cannot...
That's all they could get for WrestleMania 3? Wow.
Yeah. So, I watched this match 2 days ago. I can't remember it for the life of me.
Well, it's Honky Tonk and Jake Roberts.
Jake can work. Jake's good.
I admit... There are many matches where Jake is very good. I just never found him to be all that memorable.
No, definitely not. His wrestling style, his character is very memorable. And if you put him in the ring with the right guy, his kind of cold, tactical thing can work very well.
Right.
Jake's problem is he has the most boring moveset in existence. Because what is Jake's signature moveset? Inverted atomic drop.
Yeah.
Arm ring clothesline. DDT.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Jake finds other ways to pad out the match.
The 3 moves of doom.
Sometimes he punch kicks, sometimes he mimes like he's going to go for Damien, that kind of thing, right? And Honky Tonk Man famously never drew a dime, so, you know. Like, oh my god, Honky Tonk Man. Like, I can almost appreciate the hokiness of the gimmick, right? Like, especially nowadays, like, it's one of those things where looking back, like, at the time, Honky Tonk Man, garbage. Much better gimmicks running around. But looking back nowadays in this modern era of no gimmicks, like, I'd take that over fucking...
Man, what would I like to have a Honky Tonk Man right now?
Yeah. We pretty much do, don't we? Elias?
Close. Yeah, you're not wrong.
He's Honky Tonk,
he's
but less
cocky,
shit.
and he's a hobo.
Yeah. The Hobo Tonk Man.
Like, the trouble Honky Tonk had is just that his gimmick did not necessarily conduce him actually being a threat in a fight. Whereas Elias's whole thing of, like, a tough country singer is more acceptable, I think. You could reasonably see that being a tough guy.
Yeah.
Whereas Honky Tonk, it's like...
Plus, he looks more like a threat than Honky Tonk probably ever did.
Yep. Honky Tonk, it's like what you gotta think with wrestling, like, with a gimmick. Like, what about this gimmick implies this man to be a threat in the ring, you know? And with Honky Tonk, he's an Elvis impersonator. What?
Not just any Elvis impersonator. He's a fat Elvis impersonator.
Oh, yeah, not young Elvis.
Not the young in his prime Elvis. The one who committed suicide on the toilet.
Yeah, the threat of Honky Tonk Man is that he will die on the shitter.
That might actually work. Like someone running a gimmick where they're jailhouse rock era Elvis. That could actually be decent. No, just me? Okay.
No, I'll agree with you.
Then we got Sheik and Volkov versus the Killer Bees.
Remember those guys?
Uh-huh. Oh my fucking god, the Killer Bees were terrible!
They are often lauded, or at least I think I've seen it somewhere, as one of the greatest teams of all time. I don't believe it for one bloody second.
What's their fucking gimmick?
They wear yellow and black striped underwear.
Now,
Yeah.
if they stuck a knife up their ass and then rammed their ass into their opponent, I might accept that. They should have had a manager that was a chick and she was the queen bee.
See, that would have been good, but how many women were actually working wrestling in the 80s?
That's
3.
true. But like, make it a heel gimmick where they're obsessive over protecting her, and like guys the other workers so much as look at her and they come out and they fucking kill them with steel chairs.
Yeah.
That could work as a heel gimmick. It wouldn't be good, but it'd be passable. Whereas this shit,
that gimmick was bees, not the bees.
yeah. Oh man, if that gimmick was booked by fucking Russo, could you imagine? Beehive on a pole match. Oh man, and here's the really wild thing. Sheik and Volkov are managed by Slick. Slick, for some fucking reason, did not put on a new suit. So he comes out with like half his fucking suit torn off. And like he's still got like the half that's torn off, he's still wearing the sleeve to it. So he's just like bearing half of his chest and then a sleeve over his arm. It's a unique in vogue style there. And then at long last, the match everyone was waiting for, Hogan versus Andre. Honestly, I went into that one with low expectations because it's Hogan, and Hogan was never really good, versus Andre at the end of his career.
Yeah.
And I was actually pleasantly surprised. There's one spot in the match it sucks ass, where Andre puts Hogan in a bear hug for what feels like a fucking century.
Yeah.
It could not have been more obvious in that match that Andre desperately did not want to put Hogan over. Because Andre was not working on that day.
No, if I remember the match as well as I'm not sure what I'm trying to say here. If I can remember the match as well as I think I remembered it, it felt like a lot of time wasting until the big finish. Because I feel like there was a lot of stuff going on the outside, like in the beginning of the match.
Heenan actually did nothing in that match. That was weird.
Did Andre not leave the ring at one point and just kind of stand around outside?
Nope.
My brain is playing tricks on me.
You may be thinking of the match where Hogan dropped the title to Andre. Oh,
it's possible.
Hogan tries his best. Bless him. He gets some stuff out. And at the end of the day, this was Hogan in his prime, so he's still good at showboating. And he's still good at doing, the hulking up thing.
Yeah.
And he makes it a very entertaining finish to the match. And, the Power Slam is one of the most iconic moments in wrestling history for a reason.
Yes.
It's a fucking energetic turnaround moment. The crowd loses its shit. All around, in terms of technicality, it's a shit match. In terms of entertainment and story value, pretty good. I walked away enjoying the match, personally.
Yeah.
It was before, early 90s Hogan, when Hogan realized he was famous enough he could get away with not working. It was before... when he realized...
Yeah, it was before Right Gay Guy, Hogan.
Yeah. Well, that was 2000s Hogan. 2000s Hogan actually put out some good matches. Which is weird to say.
Right.
But Hogan versus Rock, good. Hogan versus HBK, really good. And I know working with HBK is cheating, but still, Hogan didn't fucking laze around. Hogan cooperated with him, and Shawn's had to put up with worse. All around WrestleMania 3, overrated. There are 3 good matches on the card, to me, and the rest is stinky.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, there are some wrestling cards where you can't get 3 good matches.
Very true.
And the last thing I watched with wrestling was, my sister wanted to see people bleed, because she has an interest in hardcore matches, and that's about the only thing she is interested in with wrestling. So I just went to the automatic one that popped in my mind, WrestleMania 17, Hardys versus Dudleys versus Edge and Christian.
Very nice.
Very classic hardcore match. Great hardcore spots. Technically, it's a shit match, because, It's a hardcore match.
Is there wrestling in that match? I forgot.
No. Fuck no. Oh, well, kind of. Right. Spike Dudley comes in and does his spot. Rhino comes in and spears a couple people. Lita comes in and she does her spot. She moonsaults a couple people. But overall, like, just in terms of, hey, it's WrestleMania, let's see a big fucking show.
Right.
Great match.
Absolutely. It's one of my favorites of all time.
In terms of hardcore matches, it's probably the best hardcore match of all time. That's probably some contention there. I'm sure there's some ECW fanboys who disagree with me. But fuck ECW fanboys.
Probably, but all the ECW stuff blends. That was their big problem.
There is a competitor. There is a solid competitor for best hardcore match. Foley versus Hunter.
Oh yeah.
I've not seen those matches, but like pretty much anyone I've ever talked to has said Foley versus Hunter is one of the classics.
There's a lot you could pull from in the Attitude Era with Foley. Rockin' Mankind at Royal Rumble, 98, 99?
The fucking Super Bowl halftime show.
That as well.
Yeah, remember when Rock beat Foley with a bag of kettle corn? That's gotta be one of my favorite hardcore spots because they know it's just a bag of kettle corn, so Mankind doesn't sell it. But Rock keeps slapping him with it anyways, so there's just kettle corn all over the floor. Oh man, what a classic! It's such a great hardcore match that everyone involved with it regrets it to this day. Because they inspired a ton of people to go out and fucking kill themselves.
Yeah. That was gonna happen anyway.
I forget, was it Edge or Christian that outright said in an interview, wish they hadn't done that match because people just keep trying to outdo it and it's just stupid.
It was probably Edge because I feel like Christian doesn't do a lot of interviews.
But they have the podcast now.
That is true.
And are we talking about the unnosing of Joey Mercury?
No.
Oh, no, that was the Hardy Boys, right?
Okay. I do have to say, it's very obvious in that match, the Dudleys can't work to save their lives. Like, Devon's passable. Bubba Ray has always been Bubba Ray.
Yeah.
And between the Hardys, ugh. Like, this is before Jeff was hard into the drugs, but, still not good, So,
yeah.
Edge and Christian...
Jeff's greatest contribution to wrestling was being able to fall off lots of tall objects without being injured for very long periods of time afterward.
Yeah. Meth is Jeff's superpower.
Yeah, this was not... This was still just a bit before Mariachi Sting beating up Jeff Hardy beating up Jeff Hardy in the ring. Because he was so gone.
Oh my god, that is still one of the biggest embarrassments in wrestling history. Just what the fuck? Just about everything Jeff did in late TNA, really. And somehow he's still working for WWE, right? He's still part of WWE?
Still,
I think so, yeah.
To this very day.
I would not have
told you... As of this recording, anyway.
I would not have told you that Jeff would have stayed with the WWE while the Dudleys left.
Yeah, both the Dudleys and Matt have left.
Matt's left?
Yeah, Matt's in AEW.
Oh.
His contract expired last month, and he is now with AEW.
That makes sense, because AEW will let him get away with a lot more of that.
Yeah.
A lot more of his bullshit.
If you look through Twitter on their probably latest episode, they had Matt Hardy piloting a drone in the ring, and it fought Chris Jericho. So yeah,
fucking.
That is why Matt left WWE for AEW. There are just some things that you can't get away with in WWE. So
I
go to the land of the free.
I blame Kenny Omega.
Somewhere in my heart of hearts, I hope that Russo is booking AEW.
Somewhere in my heart. I hope that Russo is running AEW.
Yeah.
It wouldn't surprise me.
AEW.
Storylines are all over the place. They've got no women's division.
Oh yeah.
They're piloting drones in place of matches, pretending it's good TV.
Oh man, watching the old episodes of TNA from when Russo ran the show. Oh my God, Russo is so misogynist. Oh my fucking God. Do you guys remember the angle of Billy Gunn versus Christy Hemme?
No.
I might, but not really.
So Christy Hemme's heel gimmick was she was saying people should respect women. And Billy Gunn's face gimmick was, honest to God, coming out and cutting a promo and saying, "Oh, women's only places, if you ask me, all women's only places is in the kitchen and in the bedroom." And the fucking Florida hick crowd cheers him like no other. I didn't hear a bigger pop out of that fucking crowd. The fuck is wrong with you people? Oh my God. And so many other angles that Russo booked women into. Like pretty much everything in the Attitude Era.
Yep.
That guy's got fucking problems, man. Oh, man. Like, fucking, how long did Jim Russo, Jim Cornette, and the other guys have to put up with him? Oh, Jesus. Fuck. Could you imagine having to put up with Jim Russo and Jim Cornette? Not Jim Russo. Fucking put up with Russo and Cornette at the same time? That's getting it in one ear and the other. Fuck me.
Yeah, that's a no-go for me, brother.
They like at that point you don't actually book matches. You just book one big death match between the two and then have them go at it.
Russo would love that. Cornette, I don't know. Cornette would not love that unless he actually gets to kill Russo. Yeah, hey, can you give me a gun? I'll just fucking shoot the fucker. And piss on his fucking grave. Holy shit. So anyways, yeah, the very last thing I watched was we want to see a little bit of what goes on with modern WWE. We want to see a little bit of the women's revolution because that's what we've missed out on, right?
Right.
So we started up Elimination Chamber 2020.
Oh, 2020. That was just last month.
Yes. And we intended to skip to the Women's Elimination Chamber, but the first match it was on was Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak, and I was like, fuck it, sure, why not? I'll see what Daniel Bryan's up to since he broke his fucking neck. And I don't know who this Drew Gulak guy is. Pink, is he one of your boys?
He's one of my boys.
I see why.
I had told you about him several months or even years ago when he first started on 205 Live. I was telling you he was a guy who was he was the one who was protesting the high flyers.
Oh, this guy is the fuck with the marks guy.
Yeah.
I see. That makes perfect sense. So, this match had something that is so sorely lacking in every era of wrestling. The match had a fucking story. The story of the match was Gulak, worshipped the fucking ground that Bryan walked on. So, to learn how to wrestle, like his idol, Gulak watched a ton of tapes of Bryan, right?
Right.
But the thing is, while he was watching Bryan's tapes on loop, he noticed Bryan's weaknesses. And he started to think, oh, well, maybe he's not as perfect as I thought. Matter of fact, I could beat this guy. So Gulak goes up and says to Bryan, hey, I've watched enough of your matches. I can kick your ass, pal. So Bryan's like, fuck it, yeah, let's do this. And I need to go back and watch some classic Bryan matches. Because my memory of Bryan, when I was like fucking 13 or 14 when I watched wrestling back in the day. So at that time, my only interest in wrestling was either, big guys that could still move around, like Lesnar or Sheamus, and, the light high flyer types,
Right.
And that match made me think I should probably go back and actually respect Daniel Bryan's ring work, because at the time I didn't give much of a shit about Bryan.
It depends on it depends on how long you want to go back, because really early Bryan you can respect. Team Hello Bryan you can respect. Psycho knee, Brian? No. There's nothing to respect there. It's just knee.
But, like, the old Brian is back. That's what's crazy to me. Because I remember yes, no, bullshit Brian. But, like, classic Brian is back. Him and Gulak put on a fantastic fucking match. Like, the storyline was fully there of, like, Brian went for his signature bits, and every time he did, Gulak was like, nope, not happening.
I watched your tapes, boy.
And, like, even though Gulak's this new guy, has Gulak even picked up any titles on the main shows?
No.
So, like, it's a main eventer, a multi-time world champion versus this new, like, young guy, which does not happen enough in wrestling. Wrestling a match that has an actual storyline that's integrated into the match, and they are wrestling to fit the story, which does not happen enough in wrestling. And they just fucking killed it. And it was just good. The only thing I think was a mistake with the match was the decision to have Brian still win, but they still had him go over in a way that worked, which was that he simply got the label lock in a very unexpected way. And that he started off as an armbar or something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But it's one of those wonderful matches where even though Brian came out on top and thus, to some degree, like Gulak, he didn't get jobbed out to some new guy, he still made Gulak look fantastic.
Yes.
Great match. Skipped straight ahead to the ending. Women's Elimination Chamber match. Oh boy, what a match to show my family to start off on the Women's Revolution. So, Pink, you know the results of that match, don't you?
Hey, yes. I will be the man here in this room and say I don't think that match should have gone on last because to me, I like Shayna Baszler. I felt like the entire match would have. I don't know. I felt like it felt more like a segment you would see on Raw, not an actual match with any meaning.
It can fit on a pay-per-view.
I had mentioned previously that. It might have not even been on a podcast. We might have been recording something, and I just said in passing, "Oh, they need to move Elimination Chamber away from Mania because that ruins the Chamber." It's like what? That was a big problem for me because the match, it's just one person running roughshod and all the other participants.
Oh,
what did they do? Did Lesnar interfere with all the women?
Let me tell you,
it comes into an outcome that everyone and their grandmother already saw coming.
Yeah.
So it's like. There was no reason to even have the match. You should have just named Baszler the number one contender on a Raw several months ago.
Okay, so Addy, here's what happens. It's a Women's Elimination Chamber match. 3 out of the 6 participants are the Riot Squad, right? Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan.
Yeah.
Out of the other 3, it's Shayna Baszler, Asuka, and my girl Natalya. So, we start off, it's Natalya versus Ruby Riott, and it's very clearly that they booked these two to begin, because they're the two most proficient technical workers out of the group, and they have to put on the actual match.
I see.
Sarah Logan comes out, and she's supposed to be a wild Kentucky girl, so she does a bit of brawling, and she's just kind of okay.
She sounds a cow.
And then Shayna Baszler comes in, and she pretty much fucking instantly kills Sarah Logan. Then she instantly kills Ruby Riott, despite the fact that they clearly built this match up with a feud going on of the Riot Squad all turning on each other, right? And then
Indeed.
Baszler wrestles Natalya for about a minute longer than she does the others, then kills her too. And then Baszler is just alone in the chamber by herself, fucking hot dogs for about an hour, going around like, look at me, I'm Shayna Baszler. Liv Morgan comes out, and Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah.
No.
Was that last year?
Liv Morgan has never won anything in her life.
Okay, you're memeing, I see. And Liv Morgan is like, oh, she's small, but she's energetic. She's gonna have a chance. Nope.
Like I'm just imagining like really quick finger pokes of doom here.
Pretty much. Each of them come out, Baszler just power bombs them, then puts them in a fucking naked choke. No, I think she military press slammed each of them. And then
the military press slam, my favorite.
Yeah, and then puts them in fucking Samoa Joe chokes, because of course.
Yeah. Second only to the Shining Wizard.
Yep. So, yeah, Liv Morgan comes out and Baszler just fucking eats her. And then she hot dogs for another hour. At which point I'm like, for fuck's sakes, if you don't want half the match to be just Baszler going, look at me, have Natalya not get eliminated immediately. Natalya can work a fucking match. Have her stick around for a while. She won't get gassed.
I have an alternative. So if they really wanted to build her up as like this monster type, have her Goldberg spear the freaking pod of the last person.
She won't wait. She just kicks it in. It's time, motherfucker.
Like, just do that. She looks like a freaking monster then. Like, imagine.
I agree, and I was saying the same thing the day after. I was like, when she's all alone waiting for those... How long did they have us wait for? 3 minutes until the next spot opens?
It felt longer.
It did feel longer. I was like, if you're sitting there and you're just waiting... Shayna Baszler is not a very charismatic individual. She cannot work a crowd for 3 minutes or however longer it takes to open those pods. So once she had eliminated everybody... She should have just... I don't know how they would rig it, but they should have had her rip the doors off the other pods and just throw everyone else in the ring. Because, why are we waiting to open the pods? There's no reason to. If there's only one person in there, just unlock the other pod. Bust down the other pods. Get more stuff going so your audience isn't sitting there thinking, wow, I'm just here live. I'm looking at this giant metal structure that's actually very hard to see through. And I'm watching I'm just watching it, random segments sprinkled in every 5 minutes.
Yep. I mean, like, having it where the person can just sit there in the ring by themselves between eliminations might work for a cowardly heel. Does not work for a monster heel like Baszler at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it comes down to Asuka. Asuka gets out. They build this up as like Clash of the fucking Titans. It's the unbeaten streak of Asuka versus the fucking killer of women Baszler, right?
Right.
Asuka gets maybe 4 or 5 moves in more than Morgan, right?
Right.
Yeah, then Baszler just fucking kills her too. Like, for me, my only knowledge of Asuka was for 2 or 3 years, hearing you guys complain about Asuka being booked way too strong and killing everyone.
Yeah.
So for that to be the first Asuka match I've seen in my life, let me tell you, that was pretty fucking funny. She got fucking squashed like all the rest, Jesus. Like, that could have been an epic Clash of the Titans there, and no. Baszler just fucking kills her.
Mm-hmm.
It's the main event of the damn card. Give the audience something. Like, people pay to see that. Baszler's a monster heel. Asuka's a monster face. The monsters going up against each other is always a fun little thing just for the sheer climacticness of it,
Mm-hmm.
But
They should have had a big kaiju fight.
Okay, so I've got a question for Pink.
Yeah.
So Liv Morgan won the Royal Rumble, right?
No, she did not.
Who won it? I thought I saw in passing that she'd won it.
Charlotte won the Royal Rumble.
Okay. So was that just for the opposite women's title? So one WrestleMania contender is determined by the Elimination Chamber and one's determined by the Royal Rumble?
Yes. Because Charlotte was challenging for the NXT women's title, there wasn't any contender for the Raw women's title. So they just said, hey, we'll grab 6 women, throw them in a pod, and whoever wins that becomes the number 1 contender. Everyone's happy, right?
Yeah. So I got a question. Are they doing all this with Baszler just so she'll be the Andre to Becky's Hogan?
Yes. And, this is where that problem I was mentioning arose, because they have the Elimination Chamber too close to WrestleMania, because it's a pay-per-view before WrestleMania. But they had been building up the Becky Baszler feud like a month prior. It's like Baszler probably came out on the Raw after Royal Rumble because she debuted in the Royal Rumble. Probably should have won it and gone on to face Becky that way, but they wanted to give Charlotte the win and have her face the NXT champion for whatever reason.
Because they're trying to build NXT up and make it seem like a serious brand.
it's smart on their part. I feel like both these big climactic matches were performed the wrong way because everyone saw or everyone knew Charlotte was going to win again. Everyone knew Baszler was going to win again. So there was nothing at stake. There was no reason for anyone to actually watch the matches.
Well, that's just a problem WWE's had for like a decade now. Is like we all know who's going to win the matches well ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely.
They book the stories in such a way that only one thing can happen.
Right.
It's the opposite of Russo Swerve booking. It's the anti-swerve. It's going straight down the road.
Right.
It's a one-lane highway is what it is.
Yep.
Oh, man. I've got a question.
Yeah.
There is a SmackDown women's title, right?
Yes.
So there are 3 equal women's champions now.
Yes.
What determines the SmackDown women's title, her contender at WrestleMania?
Nothing. They kind of got screwed over with the coronavirus and all that nonsense. I've heard allegedly that the original plan was to break up Sasha and Bayley and have them go at it at WrestleMania. But that did not happen. It is now just a 6-pack challenge featuring Bayley defending her championship against multiple other competitors as well as Sasha.
Which is surely where they'll have Sasha turn heel.
Right. Well, they're already heel.
What?
So, yeah.
Bayley is a heel?
Bayley is a heel.
What the fuck?
It was friggin' weird because they tried to turn her once and the turn didn't go well. It's not like fans were still cheering her. It's just that fans didn't care. So then they went harder into the paint and it kind of stuck this time, but it's still kind of up in the air for me because, you know, Bayley's gimmick kind of expired on the main roster because, you know, people are fickle and they're not the NXT universe, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So her hugger gimmick to me had a very, very short expiration date on it, and it just wasn't going to last. I didn't see it having any longevity to it.
I couldn't see it as anything other than a comedy face gimmick.
Right. I think she could have done a comedy face gimmick very well for a very long time, but because they wanted her to be the same Bayley they had in NXT, they kind of shot themselves in the foot by requiring the audience to take her seriously when that just wasn't going to be an option for a very long time for the audience.
And now they will
especially when your roster got as loaded as it was.
Yes.
You know, even at the time, way back when, even before Becky Lynch kind of broke out, you still had all the big names that were in competition for that main event spot. You know, you had all the 4 horsewomen. You had Natalya still. You had... Who else did you have? You still had the Bellas at the time. I mean...
Don't they still have
like them or hate them?
I thought Nikki came back after her and John split up.
She did for a brief period of time, but she's out again, and I'm pretty sure both Bellas are pregnant at the moment, so they'll be out of action for quite a while.
Oh, man. That's the problem that I always see with WWE. Like, just running the WWE games alone, it's like, who the fuck do I make main eventers and jobbers out of this roster? Because they all are really talented, with a couple exceptions.
Yeah. Because, yeah, their women's roster was just so loaded, and that's probably why they didn't bring Bayley up initially when Becky and Sasha did. Because they waited several months for her.
I remember.
Maybe even a year. And, you know, you had the internet complaining about it and freaking out like, oh, what are they doing with Bayley? This show would be so much better if they would just push Bayley up to the main roster. And then once she got there, she just tanked immediately because they didn't actually care.
Well, here's the thing. We need Bayley's new gimmick, the Honky Tonk Bayley.
That could work.
I mean, in my mind, Bayley is the muscle of the 4 horsewomen, and they didn't do the 4 horsewomen angle on the main roster.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, from the very beginning, I would have said that they needed to change her gimmick, because in my mind, there's only one person who's been able to work a main event comedy gimmick, and that was Kurt Angle. And she doesn't have the same level of, like, I don't know. I haven't watched a Bailey match or a Bailey promo. All I know about her is her stupid hugger gimmick. I will say Kurt Angle, it worked because Angle came off as just being incredibly stupid but incredibly talented.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they'd be able to pull that off again with Bailey.
Yeah, because she's not an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, I mean, like, maybe just replace stupidity with naivete and replace skill with raw power.
Right.
Which I
At the same time, she does suffer. She's not a powerhouse because she's...
Why'd she use a belly-to-belly suplex as a finish, then?
Because it's a hug.
That's fucking stupid. The belly-to-belly suplex is a classic power move.
Yes, but it is used by her because it is essentially a hug, and then you throw him on the ground.
Stupid.
Uh-huh.
Fuck. I always associated her as the fucking Arn Anderson, the powerhouse of the four horsewomen. Was I wrong?
Bailey is the Chris Benoit of the four horsewomen.
Oh no. No. Hang on. You know we both know that's Sasha.
Yeah.
Oh man. I don't.
Wait, Charlotte is more of a
Bailey
powerhouse, but even with her, that's more from the fact that she's like 7 feet tall.
Also,
Is
she
Bailey
throws
the
out a
field man?
moonsault in every goddamn match. So a Vader type powerhouse, I guess. Oh man, Addy, you were saying?
I'm saying is Bailey Pillman.
If it turned out Bailey was a massive carny, I'd laugh my ass off. All right. So I guess
Bailey is actually a spy for ECW. They don't exist anymore, but she is.
for WWECW.
Yeah.
May they rest in peace.
She's spying for CM Punk and Christian.
No, she's a spy for House of Hardcore.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh Christ. So I guess that's it for Wrestling Hour this week. Who knows, maybe I'll watch more wrestling. And the very last thing I did this week was I downloaded a very big mod for the original not the original, for Dawn of War Soulstorm. You guys know one of the classic RTSs, Dawn of War, Warhammer 40,000, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And they released a series of expansions. A good one, a shit one, and it just kind of ended on the shit note. Which was unfortunate. Then they released a good game. And it had some good expansions. And then they released a shit game, and now the series is over. Such is life. But some crazy modder looked at that last shit expansion for the original Dawn of War, and he looked at how poopy the graphics were, because they're like PS1 and 64 polygon people, right?
Right.
And they said, what if we put this on cocaine? Because that game is quite old. Even at the time, it did not have everything that was in Warhammer. And Warhammer has only kept growing in the decade since its release. And now they have crazy bullshit. You know how in the tabletop, your average Warhammer miniature is about probably the size of your thumb, right?
Right.
Yeah. Have you guys ever seen Titans?
No.
I have not.
Because the smallest Titans are still probably about the size of comparatively, I don't know, what's a good size comparison? I don't fucking know, but I'm going to look up the biggest one just to demonstrate. Because some crazy people at some point decided, well, in the Warhammer universe, everything's fucking mad. So we're going to make some of the craziest bullshit you have ever seen. Oh, here we go. Here's a good picture. Well, it's actually a pretty low quality picture, but it shows off the Titans. So, this is made by, like, the ultra-specific manufacturer Forge World that makes the crazy models. These are Titans.
Oh.
You see that little green thing at the bottom? That's a tank.
I do.
Yeah, that's a tank.
Oh.
That That Titan in the back is bigger than your fucking toddler.
It also costs more.
Oh, yes. I believe that one might actually cost somewhere around $1,000.
I'm not surprised.
No. As you can see, it's got an entire cathedral mounted on its back. Because Warhammer. And some crazy person was like, fuck it, we're gonna put those in the game. So they did. Now here's the funny thing. Most of the additions to the game are just additions of crazy units, new economic overhauls. They add the Tyranids and the Demons who were both missing in the original game. But the funniest addition to me, so in the original Dawn of War, it came out in 2004. That was a long fucking time ago. Part of the whole big thing was that you could fit like a ton of dudes on the screen at once. Massive Warhammer 40,000 battles, right? That was the big appeal of it. Now, individually, those people all looked like, PS1 Hagrid, but... Well, they looked a little better than PS1 Hagrid, but still not great.
We all tried to look like PS4 Hagrid.
Deep in our hearts, after all, he's the peak of sex appeal.
Pink, have you seen PS1 Hagrid?
I have not.
Alright, give me a sec, I'll look him up for you.
Oh, you're about to be enlightened, Pink. Because PS1 Hagrid is the inner spirit of every true...
A man.
A man. Just play fucking William Regal's theme from fucking WCW. The clip of him driving a fucking bulldozer for some reason.
Like a man.
What a man.
Do you want to put up a timestamp?
Fuck it, no. Nobody watches these videos.
Oh my goodness.
PS1 Hagrid.
Oh dear God.
Yep.
What is
Here's
that
a full-
monstrosity?
Here's a full body shot, give me a sec.
It's the best polygonal model the PS1 had to give us, man. And Harry's relatively high poly. Like, you can just see him in the side, and he looks so much better. And then Hagrid's just...
Dome.
He's a gnome, that's exactly right. He's a gnome with a face on his hat.
Hey, Hagrid is an enlarged gnome model.
So, you got a full screen of PS1 Harrys. At least, they're closer to Harry than they are to Hagrid. But, even that was kind of pushing it for a lot of computers at the time. So they made it where you couldn't zoom the fucking screen out. You were pretty much getting a fucking close-up of those guys all the time. And here's the problem. The zoom in is strong enough that you can see an average human pretty well. You see most of his details. You look up at that fucking Titan. It's a little bigger than your human, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Small bit.
So, if you tried to put that Titan into the game with the normal camera angle, all you would see is a fucking foot. So they made it where you can zoom out infinitely. Which is awesome, because the maps clearly were not designed for you to be able to zoom out infinitely. And you can see lots of untextured shit that was not supposed to be seen. And you can also just see where the fucking game ends and it goes into Skybox. But it's a fantastic turn of it's a surprisingly high quality for the most part. It's a mod, so some of the stuff is just shit. Some of the models are pretty fucking derpy. Some of the models look horribly out of place because they're too good. You know how that happens sometimes with mods?
Yep.
We got potato people, and then here's HD man. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, here's potato people, and here's a polygonal woman with realistic tits.
Yep, there we go. That's the way they do it. And sweat physics.
Yeah.
Oh,
also jiggle physics imported from the OA.
Yep. Oh, what's his face that got fired and had the sexual harassment and all that? He'd be proud. Mr. Ninja Gaiden himself. I don't even remember his name. Actually, I don't think he got fired. I think he quit because of something with Ninja Gaiden 3 or something. Who fucking cares? But it fucking amps up the shit to crazy levels. It basically turns Dawn of War into Supreme Commander. In case any of you guys have seen Supreme Commander.
Nope.
I don't think I have.
Supreme Commander, all you need to know is massive RTS strategy game where tanks are the smallest units you can build.
Wow.
Every faction in that game has a variety of experimental units, which means batshit fucking crazy. Some of them are just as simple as a giant robotic Kraken submarine. Like it's an actual fucking Kraken, but it's a robot.
I see, so a Gundam RTS.
Yeah. Some of it's just like, oh, floating space ball that as long as it exists in your world, all of your units have 3 times their health. And my particular favorite, a big-ass artillery cannon that rather than firing bullets or artillery shells like cowards, they instead fire fucking tanks.
I love it.
I appreciate stupidity of this variety. This is... I wish Addy were here for this. This is the American equivalent of stupid anime bullshit. When the fucking anime hero charges up a laser ball the size of the sun and throws it at people, you know? Just absolute fucking nonsense.
Yeah, although I am more of a fan of the like stupid anime bullshit where it's still it's a normal sized ball, but they do the move and the energy is the same size as if it were covering the sun.
Different strokes for different folks, I guess.
Yeah.
I can appreciate both varieties of craziness. I can also... There are also times where either one can get kind of boring and conventional.
Yes, I have also played freaking whatchamacallit, the game with the Allspice guy. I don't even remember the name of the game.
Crackdown.
Yeah, that one.
Crackdown had some fun stuff. It was a pity that it was only at the very end of the video that I found out about the fucking gravity grenades. Hang on, you gotta appreciate that the game lets you rip the doors off of cars and use them as bullet shields.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fucking Luke Cage move right there. Which makes you question why the fuck he would even do that, considering he himself is also bulletproof.
True. That's just wanton destruction of property. He should be ashamed of himself. It's a mix-up. He wants to use it as a projectile later. Hang on now.
Hey, that actually makes sense. Like, it's a Captain America shield at that point. It's just a car door. I'd like
Budget shield.
What if there was an alternate universe full of hobo superheroes, and hobo Captain America just does use a car door as a shield?
Hobo Captain America uses like a large piece of cardboard.
Hobo Spider-Man just has a rope made out of handkerchiefs that he just throws at shit and swings.
Hobo Spider-Man has a long ladder.
His costume is actually just fucking pieces of old luchador gear that he didn't even sew up to make it look like Spider-Man. It's just red luchador gear.
Yeah.
Rey Mysterio merchandise that he dug out of the trash.
Yeah, it doesn't fit him because it was made for 7-year-olds. He also has freaking Jeff Hardy armbands.
Oh god. The fucking things that they put sodas in?
Do they put sodas in those? I don't know.
The plastic things that they use to hold plastic soda bottles together. You know what I'm talking about, Pink. The shit that chokes fish to death.
I know what you're talking about. I don't have any idea what they're called.
They don't have those over here.
Ah, okay. Well, whatever they are, Jeff Hardy has decided that they are appropriate attire. Oh, man. Remember that old fucking stupid WWE 2K20 ad where it was all the guys in suits and then Becky Lynch busts in? Imagine if Jeff Hardy...
Through the ceiling, right?
Yeah, through the ceiling. Imagine if Jeff Hardy was there and he was still wearing the suit, but he was wearing that shit over it.
Yeah, he has that and the freaking face paint.
How come...
He never actually opens his eyes. No. Even better. Jeff Hardy is there in a suit with the armbands. Also has the Willow face on, or Willow mask on.
Oh no. His house is burning in the background.
Yeah.
Matt Hardy stabs his dog. I hate you, Jeff Hardy. How come they never had a match of Jeff Hardy versus Shark Boy in TNA, huh? Because Jeff has those little things on his arms. He could use those to choke him out.
They were the same performer. They couldn't.
Yeah. Well, they fucking put Kazarian in the suicide mask all the time. Why not just put him in there again? That was Kaz that was in the suicide mask most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think it was Christopher Daniels a couple times that they needed to have Suicide wrestle with Kaz, but other than that.
Yeah. It was Kaz, Daniels, and TJ Perkins.
Isn't he with the WWE now?
He quit.
He was, but he left, and he probably went back to TNA.
Oh, that makes sense.
He wanted more of that suicide money.
Suicide is basically TNA's more serious Doink, isn't he?
Yes.
Now, I forget,
My favorite thing about Suicide is that he debuted in a video game.
Yeah, that's pretty classic. It's... TNA was a unique company, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Christ. All right.
My favorite one was Suicide X. Freaking out.
Well, how about the time they had to change his name? So now he's... What's his fucking...
Manik.
Manik.
Oh, man. Suicide wasn't a very good name. Manik is worse.
My favorite TNA name is Relic. Get it? Because it's killer backwards.
Oh, for fuck's sakes. Did he feud with fucking Black Rain? Fun fact, if you mention Black Rain on Goldust Twitter, he will block you.
Oh, I wonder why.
Oh, man. Like, what's he got to be fucking embarrassed about? That's usual fare for him, isn't it? Between that and the weird fucking pedophile gimmick he had in WCW. Oh, man.
Yeah, whatever the hell happened with Pillman in the WWF.
Oh, you could devote an entire, like, WrestleCrap thing just focused around Dustin's work outside of the Goldust gimmick.
Mm.
Like, the Goldust gimmick also had its own separate WrestleCrap, but it was not on the same level as anything else Dustin did. Remember that time he got fired from WCW because him and he was wrestling fucking Repo Man in the back of a truck as it drove down the road?
Oh, yeah, he bled.
And they both bladed despite the fact they'd been explicitly told not to.
Mm-hmm.
And they both got fired. You dumb fucks. Oh, wrestling, huh?
It's great.
Oh, man. Alright. Well, on to Addie's birthday celebrations. We will see you later, folks. This time I won't ask Addie to say bye because it's his birthday. Later, folks. Blah.